Good morning, welcome to the first race of the season. We're heading to Combe to race the Civic for the first time this year. So we had a bit of a track day a few days ago to get a bit of experience in, but time to go racing. Now, didn't actually expect to enter today's event because I was thinking towards the end of April will be my first race of the season, but we had a cool sponsorship opportunity come up from GT Manager, which we'll speak about in today's video as the day goes on. But a massive thank you to them, and they're helping contribute a bit towards the race entry for today, and that's the reason why we're entering in the GT Championship. So we're going to be focusing on the Saloon Car Championship for the majority of this season in Combe, but as it's a double header, I didn't want to stretch myself too far. So GTs today and then Saloons for the rest of the season, but still quite exciting to have this opportunity. Thank you to GT Manager for helping make this happen and make the Honda into a GT car for the day. But nonetheless, let's get to Combe as there is racing and qualifying to be done. So as we drive to the first event of the season, I'll give you a little bit more information about GT Manager, which is making today's race event possible. So GT Manager is made by the Tiny Digital Factory, who have made such games as the F1 mobile racing game and Roller Coaster Tycoon Touch. So they already have quite a bit of pedigree in this field. I'm going to play their announcement trailer right now, and then I'll get into a little bit more information about this brand new GT game. Over the past few years, sports management games have absolutely blown up, so it's nice to see another new name in the genre, and GT Manager is of course looking to become one of the big boys as well. And as the game has just been announced, they wanted me to mention their brand new Race Pass, which is an option within the game that you can buy to get more content each and every day. So over and above what you'd normally get in the game, you can pay a little bit here, normally £5.99, to get extra content. But thankfully, due to this opportunity here, they're allowing me to give this away to anyone that emails their support team for free. So all you need to do is send that code over to their email address, which is on the screen right there, and I'll put it in the description as well, and then you can get that race pass for free. Pretty simple and pretty awesome. So we've arrived at Combe, getting ready for qualifying here. I think we're the third group out, so yeah, a little bit of time. We got here a little bit early, which is good. But a few stressful moments here because the electronics cut-off switch on the outside got a bit corroded or a bit rusty over winter, so we didn't know about that. So the scrutineer very helpfully sort of just gave us an idea that's sort of our only problem. But just trying to get that switched and ready for qualifying, because obviously that's an important feature that we need to have on the car. So nonetheless, we're going to be getting ready for the qualifying session. And typical England, the weather really didn't decide what it was wanting to do. It was overcast, then there was a bit of hail, and then it cleared up and it was sunny. But just as we were going out for quali, there was a little bit of hail. But thankfully for us, we're all right. We're going to be out on the dry tyres. We're not going to be using the road tyres, or what we'd call the wets. But nonetheless, we roll down to the assembly area. I do my exhaust testing to make sure we're not over the noise limit. And then we head out onto the circuit, thanks to the marshals pointing us out on track for the first qualifying session of the season here in the Civic. As a bit of setup work has been done, I'm feeling a bit more confident. So quite excited to see what we can do here today. So it's time for me to show you my best lap in qualifying here at Combe, qualifying GTs on the bank holiday Monday. So I'll leave you to watch the lap. This is my fastest lap right at the end of the session. little bit sideways there through the final corner. But that was our best lap time of Castle Combe ever there. I was very happy to see that time flash up on my little small, not so good timer in car. The official lap time was a 1 minute 19.1. As I'm going to say numerous times this year, that's still far off what I know this car can do. Personally, it's a nice improvement, and I'm happy with that. And also the scrutineer just double checked after the session that we had properly done the electronic cut-off switch on the outside. So that was all sorted, everyone was happy, and I was happy as well after, hopefully, that being like the last big stress of the day. So, roll back to the paddock, happy with my time. Scrutineers are happy that we've fixed that one little issue on the outside, and time to debrief. So there we are, qualifying is done. Some very nervous moments there getting the electrical pull sorted. That's one of the sort of first things that we've sort of come across that we weren't really sure about, but luckily, thankfully, it was a job for WD-40, and all the scrutineers were all right with it. We tried it out and all that sort of stuff, so yeah, very happy that that's all sorted. But in terms of qualifying itself, now we did have some new tyres on the front that actually hadn't been used at all, so just spent a couple of laps sort of scrubbing them in. Didn't go quickly at all, but then, well, I guess sort of midway point of the session that I managed to start pushing the car a little bit. Got into the 120s, I think, yeah, low 120s a couple of times, and then we sort of pushed properly. I did for one last lap at the end. I didn't expect to get anywhere near where I was last year, especially after the track day we did a couple of days ago. I wasn't really sure how much difference the tyres would make, but yeah, they do make quite a bit of difference. So we were like nearly 4 seconds quicker than what I did on that test day on road tyres. So that's a lot. I know the tyres are new, they're the Nankang tyres, which I think they're still pretty decent tyres. Unsure whether they're the best for this car. We'll try out a few this year. Obviously MRF are the championship sponsor of Type R Trophy, so we'll be driving them at some point. But in terms of the time, we'll get to that point. I was a 1:19.1, I think, so excruciatingly close to a 1:18. I had a bit of a moment out the final corner, that's for sure, but I also think I maybe pushed the track limits. I think I was a bit lucky that it didn't go like a few centimetres more over and I might have been pinged, but very happy with that, very happy with the 1:19.1. Not looking to beat that in the race, looking for a consistent one, but we actually have people behind us now, which is a bit worrying for me because I haven't had that experience really before on a rolling start. So a couple of cars behind me, we'll see how that goes, but it's a rolling start, so you know, just touch wood that it all goes all right, and managed to get through that one. But yeah, good stuff. Race is going to come up in a little bit, hopefully not so stressful as it was to get to qualifying, but let's go. So now that the drama of our qualifying session is complete, we've got a little bit of time before race 1 at Castle Combe. So I wanted to show you through some of the nice features in GT Manager. So the first of which was the amount of real cars they've got in the game. There's a really nice mix here. You can see separated into currently 4 different classes. You know, you've got the likes of GT4 cars, GT3 cars, you've even got something like a V8 supercar in there as well. And some certain famous livery designs are thrown in there as well, which is really nice to see. Some attention to detail there. But these huge brands, and they're from different generations as well. Personally, this is one of my favourite. The Stallion S7 was always one of my favourite cars when I was younger. I remember having quite a big die-cast model of it in sort of bright yellow. I don't know why, that's always stuck with me. An absolutely lovely car, and it's awesome to see it in this game. And it's nice to see the way they've grouped together cars as well. Obviously you've got the likes of GT3 cars ahead, but they're in separate groups to something like this, which is the GTE cars, so slightly faster in a slightly bigger group. Also got some cars, some legendary cars like the McLaren Senna, but then also this, the Brabham BT62, which actually had its race debut at Brands Hatch a few years ago, and we managed to see that in person, which is an absolutely awesome car. I also want to mention the HQ in this game. There is so much going on. You've got 5 buildings, you've got 12 departments here, and all of these help improve the performances of your car and driver and all the staff as well. So you can see here, We're in the cars factory department right now, and you can actually upgrade using some of the cards as well, and some of the in-game credits which we mentioned earlier on as well. And of course, with stuff like the race pass which we talked about earlier on, even more opportunities to get stuff upgraded within your factory and within your team to make it even quicker once the car is out on track. Because when you think about it, all of the performance out on track, or most of it at least, will come through developing this part of the game through the HQ. So you can see here we're going into the driver section here, and of course, you won't start off with the best drivers, you need to build up to that over time, but you'll start off with some decent drivers that can help you in the first couple of races, and with the addition of some of the cars that you'll get through the race pass as well, you'll definitely be in a strong position in your first couple of races. So be sure to go and check out the HQ once you download the game. It's worth mentioning that the game itself is free to play, and of course the race pass, there's free content in there as well if you use my code, which is mentioned earlier on in the video and in the description as well. Lots of free content here to go and enjoy in the game, and of course you can still purchase extra stuff if you'd like to go down that route. It actually ended up being a pretty nice day at Castle Combe, as you can see here, waiting for the Formula Ford sessions to start, but there was sleet at the start of the day, really overcast conditions, but then the sun did come out and it was pretty nice and pretty warm for the majority of the day. Anyway, I want to show you some great footage that John shot throughout the weekend. Really happy with it. Of course he was sort of focusing on me, but I want to show you some of the other stuff that he shot today. Really nice stuff. So thanks again to John for getting all of this footage throughout the weekend. So it's the first time using this new camera that I've got, so it's quite cool to see what he was able to capture. And we're all learning, so hopefully more nice stuff like that in the future. So now some just slow-mo stuff to show you off some of the stickers I've got on the car, some NHS stickers to appreciate what they've done for me over the last year, as well as some other sort of, I guess, donator stickers you could say. So it's time for race number 1 here at Castle Combe. We're going to be following my formation lap here, so I don't really know what I'm supposed to be doing. Do I warm the tyres up? I don't really know when you're this far back and the only person in your class, but nonetheless, did a little bit of wheel spin at the start. I just see what the cars around me are doing and follow them. But as mentioned in the qualifying session, we're starting ahead of a couple of people. Most of them are much quicker than me. They just didn't set a representable lap, or teething problems. It's the first race of the season. I think we've got Mike Parsons to our right hand side in the white Golf, for instance. I think he had some quite big engine problems from my understandings, and he was like 4 or 5 seconds down on what I know he can do from last year. He could probably go even quicker than that, so I knew he was to my right hand side. I knew he was probably going to be going past quite quickly. Then cars in front, there was a bit of a gap, a couple of seconds. I mean, obviously this is a GT field, there are much quicker cars than me in this class, but of course, as I said already, the reason for doing this is because of the sponsor here today. Interesting thing on the formation lap here, the Ferrari had a slight spin. I'm assuming that's because he was on cold tyres, and of course going around on the formation lap, it's a little bit too much on cold tyres, can see you round. So I was quite aware at this point in my mirrors he's probably going to want to come back through at some point. Castle Combe's quite a tight circuit, so I was trying to think of a nice scenario where he can come back through, but you can see here not really much more room than sort of 2 cars down here. I mean, I'm sure there are overtakes down here, but of course the track is so tight it makes it tough. But letting someone through is tough when you're going side by side like this already. So I decided out of this chicane here was probably going to be my best opportunity to let the Ferrari back through and to let him get his grid position. So that's why I was sort of holding off here. At first I was thinking, oh, is he going to go through there? No, he's not, so we're going to have to wait a little bit, and he's hopefully going to go through on the exit here. So as mentioned before, rolling starts are actually probably better for me right now because I haven't really had much experience of doing standing starts. I don't really know where you gain that experience except from actually doing them on the grid for the actual race starts, but nonetheless I very am limited in that scenario, so I guess rolling starts, if anything, are a little bit better for me right now, possibly a little bit more predictable, I don't know. But anyway, we're starting behind a Tigra, which is like an Intermark, a very quick car, and behind us we've got some very quick cars as well, including like a Caterham kind of thing, and also a Ferrari, I think, just behind us. I think Mike Parsons in his Golf did actually end up having to pull off into the pits at the start of this one, so he won't be coming through, but you can see the power difference between myself and his other car. So I was quite cautious. There were some quick cars behind me. There's a couple of them going through. There's the Ferrari going through. As I said, I was aware that these cars were going to be coming past me because they are quicker, so I didn't want to just do anything silly on this first lap. Try and just keep it in the right place and then go about setting some consistent lap times, but quite wary at the same time. As I've mentioned before, brake fade was kind of in the back of my mind. As you saw, slight moment there for the Ferrari off the track and just trying to make sure that I didn't interfere with him because I obviously knew he was much faster. I didn't want to overtake him there, but obviously that cost me a little bit of time in my battle with the other Ferrari, the yellow Ferrari, which I managed to beat in qualifying by a few seconds, which I was quite happy about here. So my mission was, once I lost this time to the yellow Ferrari, to try and catch up to him. Now, I think I've mentioned it before, I'm pretty sure he was on more regular road tyres, or they were definitely not as slick as mine. I mean, mine are only semi-slick, but his looked, to me at least, looked like more like road tyres. So I was determined to try and catch him up as best as possible, but it's a Ferrari. Just to put that into perspective, it was a bit of a surreal experience trying to catch up to a Ferrari, but a very, very cool one, and I appreciate him being very fair with me out on track. I presume he saw the novice cross on the back and maybe treated me accordingly, which is appreciated. But it looks like one of the Intermark silhouettes here having some slight problems, which was really unfortunate in this. I guess start of the season teething problems, I guess it's something that everyone's dealing with, but myself, I was starting to feel, unfortunately, a problem I felt in the test day, which I thought wasn't going to be something that reoccurred, but it was obviously a problem that needed rectifying rather than just a one-off scenario, and that was the brake fading. And it started coming in after sort of 3 or 4 laps, but then you really started noticing it at lap 5, 6, and these are only short races, so that's obviously not really what you want. But a nice run through here, not particularly late on the brakes, but a nice exit. The Ferrari didn't take so much speed through the corners. I grab a gear and fly down the inside, which was such a surreal moment to me, really, to overtake the Ferrari like that. He was very fair. He didn't sort of come back across the track on me or anything. I really appreciate him having that nice little battle with me there, and managed to get ahead, which is still quite surreal when I think about it. Now, a few laps later, I see in my rearview mirror Ollie Bull in the leading orange Tigra is coming up, so I was getting the blue flag, so I was just being a bit cautious here, probably overly cautious, but I wanted to make sure he got past cleanly. I let him through on the inside, and the Ferrari managed to sneak through as well, but on the exit I was trying to go side by side, but I'd assume at least he's probably got a few more horsepower under there than I do, so he managed to get ahead in a straight line. But still, this is just surreal footage for me to look back at. I would not have expected this 1 year ago, to be having a nice little battle here with a Ferrari. I mean, I know it's not like for a championship or anything, but to be wheel to wheel with a Ferrari like this is honestly quite surreal to me. And even though we were getting lapped by, of course, some of the faster vehicles, it was still really nice to have this battle, and it's something that I'll hold on to for a very long time. So as you can see, the mid-pack is now starting to sort of lap us here. I mean, I fully understand there's quite a big gap in terms of pace between even the mid-pack cars and myself, which I realise in myself this is not the ideal category for this car, but because of the sponsorship opportunity which we've mentioned throughout this video, it just made sense for today. Who knows, I might enter some more events in GTs, but I've definitely set myself at least a target of focusing on saloons, because at the end of the day that makes the most sense to me, or hot hatches, both of them. I mean, I've entered for both, but I kind of just settled on saloons, after last season. But you can probably tell from the way I'm driving here, really am starting to struggle with the brake fade here. Comparing this side by side to the qualifying lap, you can just see I'm so much less committed, because of course I'm just wary about what the brakes are going to be doing and what they're not going to be doing, really. So as soon as I felt it starting to come in, I was like, okay, no risks here, Alex. Well, I say that. Try and do no risk, Alex, and just bring this to the finish, as the Ferrari that had a little moment on lap 1 managed to put a lap on us here. So I think, we're quite far into this race at this point, as one of the other Tigres goes through as well. But what we're about to see is a very, very strange one. I'm not taking particularly high speed into the corner, and then this happened. It's exactly how it looks. A little bit of a moment. Definitely didn't expect the car to sort of snap like that. We've actually got a couple of different angles. John was actually in the right place there to get that on camera. For good or bad? I don't know. It's good for the video, at least, to show you what happened here. So you can see as we're going through the corner, we'll slow it down. So you can see I'm hopping about here. So that's very strange. That hasn't really happened before here. I mean, it's kind of got a little bit like that through that part of the track before. I've definitely felt the car lurching a little bit, but it's never hopped like that before, which was very strange. I wasn't taking particularly high speed through the corner. So yeah, I'm very, very thankful that the grass was there and the barrier was so far back, because obviously that was a bit of a moment for me there. But I'm glad to say that we managed to get out of that one all right. And then, if my confidence wasn't already a little bit destroyed from the whole braking scenario, having that moment really just made me back off, which I realise if you're looking here, maybe ended up being a bit of a nuisance. I'm sorry there to Dominic Shepherd for getting his way slightly through the final corner. I'm sure he was thinking, what's he doing? I'm not sure whether he's going to turn in or not, so he probably backed off a little bit there, so I apologise once again. But you can hear here I'm lifting off so early, so early. I mean, we're lifting off like 150 metres earlier where I probably can brake. But I'm just so I can't really think what the right word is, but I guess it's like passive on the brakes. I just don't want to push them to where the limit is, because I just don't want to find out what happens if you're going that far. And there was no point, as I said, really at the end of the day I was the only person in my class. I didn't want to do anything too silly, especially after having that moment there. So just told myself after that point, bring it home to the finish. Just make sure that you get there with the brakes. Try and set a reasonable pace that it's not too much of a nuisance to everyone else. But I realise going around at this sort of pace is not particularly good for the other cars around. So, of course, if we had any of those sort of dramas again, maybe I'll take a different approach and pull it into the pit lane. But it's all learning for me. And just saying thanks to the marshals on the in-lap here. I realise it's a bit of a strange one. I'm shaking my head. I'm disappointed. But I should be kind of thankful in a way that we're still able to do this. So maybe it wasn't the right attitude to have. I'm not too sure. But I was very disappointed in myself and having all the issues and all that. But I should really appreciate these great opportunities that we have. There we are, race number 1. That was dramatic. I thought obviously all the drama was done after getting the car sorted for quali, but quite a lot happened in that one. I start off with the positives. Really enjoyed that little battle with the Ferrari there. Yeah, I'm surprised how it qualified it, but obviously he had more speed in the bag. He was just taking it easy in quali. But yeah, it was nice to battle with him for a few corners. Obviously, I think I was better through the corners. He was quicker out of the exits and down the straight. So it was a nice little battle. Not the car I thought I was going to be having my first battle with in like racing, but it was cool. That was my first, I guess, proper battle. But possibly in the excitement, had a little bit of a sideways moment, which ended up with me going across the grass a little bit, which was. It is what it is, but still got round. Obviously spending like 20 seconds off the track isn't ideal. Lost the Ferrari, but it was a fun battle whilst it lasted. And rookie errors and rookie mistakes. I need to need to make them to get better and understand why. So that was that, and then pretty much soon after, like that 5 or 6, I just sort of started to get like brake fade, which was really weird. We had experienced that in the testing, like track day, a few days ago, but yeah, I didn't expect to have it like that again. Not sure whether it's anything to do with the tyres or the brakes. I mean, we're running some front wheels that maybe don't give as much air intake, so that might be part of the reason, but I'm not 100% convinced myself. Bit weird, but I've decided for the second race, if it sort of starts to fade again, you know, having to pump the brake and all that sort of stuff, it's just bring it into the pit lane, let it cool down for a few laps. I'm confident enough to go back out. If not, just sort of sit in the pit lane. I don't know, but yeah, it's not ideal. Something we need to sort out before the next one, because you know you want confidence under the brakes, especially here at Combe, and I just didn't have that today. I mean, as I said, you're in the track day, you're going to turn one at like at least 120 miles an hour in my car, faster obviously in the other guys' cars, but still I want that confidence in the brakes, and I just didn't really have it. So that's a bit frustrating. Yeah, I'm a little bit disappointed in myself to make the mistakes, but on the other side with the braking, that's something that, you know, fingers crossed we can fix before the next event. But just try to get to the finish of the next race. If not, play it safe and come into the pits. But not ideal. I know that you're out there to race, but we'll make the most of the race we're coming up next. It's a shame, but we'll go for it. With race 1 done at Combe, we've got a bit of time to speak about GT Manager and show you off some of the cool features within the game. So you can see here the different options you have in terms of races. So we've got some new ones coming soon, but as I record this, we've currently got the sprint, we've got the endurance, and then the daily races. So lots of different options here. They all have their interesting dynamic. We're going to start off here with a sprint race. You can see here we come up against John, and it's only fitting that our first race would be in the British round in England. So you can see here we start off with a qualifying session, so don't really have to do too much here. This is all kind of down to what the performance is done back at the factory. But before you start the race, you do want to start off by choosing your tyres. So different options here, of course, very much like real life racing, not all tyres are the same. So do you want to start off with the faster, softer tyres which don't last as long, or go for the medium tyres and maybe risk it and try and get to the end of the race? It's an interesting call here, and we're racing it in our newer Saleen, not the Saleen S7, but still got the Saleen name. And we're starting on pole position here. You can see some different cars mixed in here. So we've got some GT4 cars, some TCR cars, all relatively on track, similar performance, so it's quite fair. So I'm the blue team here. We're up against a rival in the red team, which is John. And going around here, the first part of that here, you can see we've promoted ourselves to first and second on the road, which is nice to see. And you can see there is the option to fast forward through as well. So we've taken one of our drivers into the pits here. A lot of the field pits on the same lap, so we did lose a few positions, but as they pitted as well, we actually come out of the pit in third place, so not too bad considering we've already made our pit stop. So we're currently sitting second and third, but our current driver in second place here does need to come into the pit. Have I ruined their strategy? Well, they need to come into the pits, that's for sure. And you can see on the bottom left and bottom right, you've got your two indicators for your drivers, so how hard you're going to push them. Of course, you don't want to push them too hard because their engine will blow up and your car will retire, so you've got to manage that throughout a race. It's not as simple as just leaving it in the highest toggle and saying, go out there and win the race for me, son. No, you have to manage that quite properly here, otherwise you won't get to the end of the race. So you can see I didn't do the best strategy here. Took one of my drivers all the way down to 12th place, but they have got a lot of speed to be able to push on this last lap, so might be able to gain a couple of positions. On the other side of the garage though, they're a little bit happier because they've had a very good race here, and even though I didn't maybe maximise the performance throughout the race, we did manage to come across the line and win with Ari. I'm not good with pronunciations. Why you got to make it hard for me? Anyway, across the line, we managed to gain a few positions on our last lap with our second driver, and he comes home in P11. So maybe not the best result for the team, but you know, I'm a bit of a newbie to this. Still got to learn a little bit how to be a better manager on this game, because that's not exactly what you want. You want to get two drivers in the top 5, not one first and one 11. But I got plenty of time to learn. So after that first race, of course, I was a little bit disappointed in myself, but also thinking about what we could do to possibly help this braking situation. I've already spoken through with Mike since the event about what we can really do, but at the event we thought maybe an option would be to use these wheels, which are not so grippy in terms of the rubber on them. It's a little bit older, but possibly the fact that they're more open could give better ventilation and keep the brakes a little bit cooler. At the time we weren't too sure what the issue was. We think we know what the issue is now. We think it's something to do with the brake pads, and also obviously bleeding out the system as well. So there's definitely some work to be done before the next event, but at the same time we weren't really sure what was happening on the day because Mike wasn't there ready to sort of advise, so we wanted to just try and keep it cautious and not do anything too drastic. But we thought something we could do was change over the wheels to the what we thought slightly more ventilated ones. And the way it is with these double headers, you're sort of back out there as soon as it finished, sort of thing. At least that's what it feels like, maybe you could say. You normally get back to the paddock, have maybe 20 or 30 minutes to sort of cool down, reflect on the last one, and then you've got to sort of prep the car ready for the next race. So at Castle Combe, most of the races, or the events I should say, aren't double headers, but I assume because of the possibility of maybe like a lockdown later in the year, they want to get in a couple of extra rounds early on. So that's the reason why we went for a double header early on, and that's the reason why I didn't do both saloons and GTs. I've definitely got it in my head as an option that later on in the year we can do 2 events at once, sort of thing. So we could do GTs and hot hatches, GTs and saloons, hot hatches and saloons. There's lots of options, thankfully, at Castle Combe. Now, unfortunately for the second race, we didn't have the camera looking forward working. You can see it at the top right of your screen there, but it wasn't recording, unfortunately. It didn't record the footage, which is a shame, but we got some footage from the outside as well, and then we got this inboard camera. So we have got some stuff to splice together, but it's a shame obviously that we don't have that view facing forward to see what was going on. Actually, it was a bit of a shame, this last race of the day. I'm still having the problems, even earlier in the race this time. I was having brake fade after just a couple of laps, which was pretty clear to me there's something wrong here. So my aim at that point, straight away, like last one, was just get to the finish, Alex, don't do anything too silly. So the lap times were even slower than the first race, I think, just trying to keep it cautious and try not to be a nuisance to everyone around me. And it was very strange. About halfway through this race, sort of 6 or 7 minutes in, I had a clear track for like 5 laps, which was really, really strange. I didn't see anybody. And obviously in this class you've got cars going around a lot quicker. So I think a couple of the leaders had a few incidents going off the track. Not like crashes, but just had a few incidents, like a little spin, which meant that they obviously lost time and didn't actually come around to lap me for a lot longer than I expected. So I was sort of just circulating by myself, which wasn't too bad, which was actually in some ways quite good considering the braking situation I was in. So I was just, once I did get cars coming in my mirror, made sure I just got out of the way, let them through, didn't do anything too silly here. But it was very weird, a little bit, surreal isn't the right word, but it was just very odd to be on the track in the middle of a race for 5 laps in by far the slowest car on track, just not seeing anyone for so long. It was odd, it was quite odd, but we dealt with that, and it possibly did me some good to just circulate consistent lap times. I mean, they were absolutely terrible lap times, but in terms of just keeping a constant pace and making sure that we got to the finish with these braking issues, it was quite important. So, you know, I wasn't really doing anything special here, and I guess it's in a way good that I didn't have anyone in class to make my mind go crazy and like, oh, we should be trying to catch them sort of thing. It maybe was good that we were the only person in our class here today, because otherwise who knows what would have gone on through my head. Maybe some more frustration, who knows, but I was I guess happy to bring home the car to the finish. I didn't, as I said, put anything special in terms of lap times, but overall we got the car to the finish, which was the most important thing after all of these issues. This was obviously, well, I'd say it definitely was the most stressful day we've had of racing at club level so far. Quite a few things obviously didn't go as expected, but we managed to get the car to the finish against all that, so that's quite cool. I'm happy that we managed to do that considering all the circumstances. 2 more races checked off, and they definitely weren't ideal. It wasn't my preferred start to the 2021 season, but that's racing. We've got to learn from these scenarios, and once again I'm shaking my head, which I guess on reflection I'm a little bit annoyed at myself for, because, you know, this is still a great opportunity to go and do these sort of things with all the restrictions that we were still under, so I should be taking that for granted rather than getting too upset about it. But I did find the happiness in myself at the time to give John, filming trackside, a little bit of a blip of the throttle. But you can see here, I'm a little bit exhausted, a little bit, I guess, demoralised after the day. But we finished it. We got to the checkered flag 2 times, and I guess we can be quite happy with that. I don't know what to say. That was not really the ideal weekend. It's very strange, doesn't it? I have to take some time to sort of think about it, or maybe on the drive home I can give a better sort of closure on the day. But very strange feelings. In qualifying, I couldn't really have been much happier to get down to that lap time. Getting on for a second quicker than I'd done last year is pretty awesome, but then just in the races just didn't go to plan. I mean, I saw after the first one I was going to have brake trouble, and that was same situation in the second race. I'm not really sure what happened. We completed another lap. I was kind of hoping to get lapped again so I could do one less lap, but it's just a real shame, because the car felt really great in quali, and then just the brakes gone. So have to sort out that. It's most likely pads. I mean, I was getting fade after like 4 or 5 laps, which is insane. I mean, these are short races and I'm getting fade like a third of the way in. So that's a situation we need to fix. Well, I need to fix. It's a bit frustrating, but it's the sort of thing I need to sort of learn as well. I need to understand what to do in a scenario like that. I've never dealt with brake fade. I know maybe that's just a feature of driving newer cars, or definitely not driving cars on the limit. I never experienced brake fade before until the track day, test day, and then not the nicest experience here at Brands Hatch, at Castle Combe, especially because down towards Corey, I've said it before, you're taking insane speed down there. Probably one of the highest speeds I'll reach in this car. You're reaching down there because the last corner's so quick. And then there's another corner, I can't remember its name, before the final chicane. That's another one where you really want to have stability and confidence under the brakes. Just didn't have that. So it's just a really strange one. I'm really happy to finish 2 races, extra races, which is nice. I'm the only person in my class, so it doesn't really obviously make a difference what I do in terms of lap times, but I just didn't have the consistency in that first race up until the brake fade. And then, well, the second race was just about bringing it home. I did ask one of the series organisers how many laps I had to complete to be sort of classified, because obviously I want to be classified in these races. I don't want to be down as a DNF even though I've done all the laps that I can. But yeah, so I think I did do enough laps in both the races. An extra lap, as I said, in that second one, but it's just, I'm so disappointed in myself that we maybe didn't pick up the signs on the track day and just fit some new pads, because we've got new pads. And I guess it would make me more angry if I was in like an intense battle or whatever, but I was having fun with that Ferrari in the first race. It's still insane to think that that's like my first on-track battle was with a Ferrari, and I actually overtook it, which is quite cool. But it looked like he was on road tyres, or I don't know, they looked a lot more grooved than mine, so it's not really a fair comparison. Obviously if he had proper tyres on, he'd be much quicker. So nonetheless, we finished 2 more races, which is nice. Not the ideal start to the season, but it's, as I said, extra races that I didn't expect to be doing, to be perfectly honest. Possibly good that we found these issues that we've come into today when it was maybe not as important in terms of results. But yeah, can't lie, I love coming here to Castle Combe. It's absolutely nowhere near where we live, but it's a beautiful part of the England, and it's a really good track as well. It's scary, especially when you have no brakes, but still, it's a really good experience for me to have, going through all these things that I haven't experienced before. So yes, I'm disappointed, but also a little bit happy in terms of the lap time we managed to get early on. It's just obviously in the races that are a bit more important, the ones that you want to be racing with people, you need to sort out those brakes. Anyway, good time here at Castle Combe. Maybe I'll debrief a bit more on the car journey home. Maybe not. We'll see how I feel. I think food and home. Let's go. So definitely a tough day, one that we can reflect on with mixed emotions. Very happy to see the improvement in terms of the lap time, so that's within myself and also within the car thanks to Mike's great setup work. Convoluted getting in and out of the car. This is the best scenario we have for now. It's quite a small trailer and I can't really get in through the door particularly easily, so we've gone for this scenario for now, but maybe we'll find a better solution in the future, or maybe just get a better and a bigger trailer. So after the car's tied down, ready to make the 4-hour journey home. But overall, reflecting on the day, of course, a couple of issues. Obviously the brakes, that was sort of the main one throughout the day, but also the electrical cut-off on the outside had us worried at the start. But nonetheless, happy for this experience and looking forward to go again soon. Before we finish off the video, I just want to of course say thank you to GT Manager once again. Everyone knows that motorsport isn't the cheapest, so they really helped me out here by supporting this day out at Castle Combe. As I said, it wasn't expected to be my first race of the season, so a few teething problems possibly were expected. But it's great to learn that, it's great to get out on track, and it was a lot of fun at the end of the day. Of course, maybe not the results we wanted, but as I said, it's been a lot of fun. So thank you to GT Manager once again. Of course, I would like to mention their race pass once again, which is giving everyone that watches this and sends them over an email the opportunity to take that for free rather than £5.99. So that's pretty awesome. All you need to do is send that email. It's on the screen right now. So I just advise to do it. It's pretty simple and you're getting quite a bit out of it, so you might as well. Nonetheless, thank you once again to GT Manager. We will hopefully be doing some stuff in the future with them. But nonetheless, whilst my Honda's not quite as quick as this Saleen, it was still a great day out on the GTs, and maybe we can progress to this in the future. Who knows? Thanks for watching, guys, and goodbye.